So good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Tired. Oh my goodness, what a week. We went back to see the metabolic specialist. We actually got to see Dr. Abdiner, who is the chief of that clinic, which is good. But because our normal doctor we see, Dr. Wang, wasn't there, he sort of stepped in, but he wasn't up to date with Annabelle's file. So most of the appointment was spent explaining things to him and him reading up on. So he's going to look at the MRI himself. He said that there are 3 things that could cause that type of MRI.
And what kind of MRI was that?
It was an abnormal MRI with white matter. I'm not sure. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Lots of terminology I don't understand. And, but it's basically a metabolic condition. And he said that 3 things, and we've tested for 2 of them and they've come back normal. And there's a 3rd thing that he said, which is called polyols. And I looked that up and I couldn't find any sort of thing on the internet, which maybe is a good thing. But obviously it's some sort of metabolic condition.
Yeah. I've actually heard of that. It's uncommon, but it's actually not that uncommon. Yeah.
So that's the 3rd thing that he wanted to test for. But on yesterday we went to see a geneticist down in San Diego, and I'd sent her everything, all the test results, doctor's reports, everything. So she had a look through everything, and she said that basically we've done most of the tests, but there are 2.
Go put her down.
2 that she thought was possible. So we tested for Angelman's, but 30% of Angelman's doesn't come up in that test that we did. So it's a different type of test you have to do.
Isn't that also isn't that also genetic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Angelman's is a genetic. But she says that Annabelle moves very much like an Angelman's syndrome child. Really? And I tend to agree with her because I've seen an Angelman's. Yeah, he's definitely Angelman. Annabelle moves very similar to how this other little girl used to move.
And interesting, I've only seen boys with it.
Yeah, and Angelman's does both.
Yeah. Is it more common with one than the other?
No.
Okay.
I think it's pretty much both. But they develop they're usually quite fair, and they develop a look about their face.
Which is?
Like a very straight jaw. I don't know, it's just a look that they have with that syndrome. And I asked her, well, Annabelle doesn't have that look. So she said that some don't have it when they're small, but as they grow older, they get that look. So anyway, so that was one test that she suggested, and the other test was for something called ataxia I can never say these words, telangiectasia, whatever. So, which is also a hereditary disease, and they normally present like a child with cerebral palsy, athertoid cerebral palsy, which Annabelle sort of has. But
an athertoid CP is what?
It's a type of movement that they have. So if you have athertoid CP, you have mixed tone. So you're moving. There's lots of movement, but either stiff or floppy, which is
right.
what a a lot of Annabelle's movements like. But obviously she doesn't have CP, otherwise she wouldn't have had that type of MRI.
Now keep talking, and I'm going to start working with them.
And we also went to see Gail on Friday.
Right.
So that Gail worked more. She said that the bottom half, you know, the organs and everything, was good.
Good.
And she was working, she needs to do more work on sort of brain areas.
Brain areas, what does that mean?
So this is, the
Cerebral areas?
cerebral areas, yeah. So I asked her if there was any messages. Yeah, so she just said more of the same of what you've been doing, which has been good.
Okay.
So it's been a busy week.
Okay, and you're filming her while we're talking.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yes, it has been an incredibly busy week. Jeez.
Oh, sorry, we forgot to say, hearing test. We did a hearing screening on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a concern about her hearing because the speech therapist did a rattle in the right ear and a rattle in the left ear. And she turned when it was in the right ear, but didn't turn when it was in the left ear. And then crinkled, on the right paper and crinkled paper on the left. She turned on the right, but didn't turn on the left.
And that's a little bit of Angelman's, isn't it?
I'm not sure. But we went for the evaluation, and they put her in a booth. So she'd passed the newborn screen test, so that was fine. But then when they put her in the booth and put the ear things in her ear, she turned when the noise was on the right, but when the noise was on the left, she didn't turn, but then turned sort of later on, so they weren't quite sure if she just turned because she was turning, or if it was because she was turning for the noise, or...
And let me ask you, is Angelman's a metabolic issue?
No, it's
just
genetic.
genetic.
Yes, genetic.
I mean, well, metabolic can be genetic.
Yes.
But this is really, Angelman's is more considered genetic than metabolic. Yeah.
So we don't know. You still have to do the test, so we don't know if it is that or not.
See, the kids that I've seen with Angelman's, and then make sure you get the whole filming, the kids that I've seen with Angelman's are actually Hispanic, so when you talk about the fair skin, I don't really see the fair skin. So, and then every single one have been boys.
Okay.
Well, okay, one has been a girl, and all the others have been boys.
Okay.
And then I saw one Caucasian child, boy, actually a teenager almost. Yeah. Yeah. See, I just don't know.
There's lots of similarities, but not so many. You know what I mean? It's not an absolute sure. But she thought it would be worth doing the test just to make sure it didn't.
Now, remember last week we talked about her not having allergies. This is the first time I'm seeing her with a little bit of a smucky nose. Little bit.
Yeah, she's been a little bit congested.